absolute silence, the Swiss Alps, majestic peaks of ice, drop 2,000 meters straight down. Total darkness. Then, a deafening roar. Tungsten carbide steel teeth rip into solid prehistoric granite. Showers of violent orange sparks. Cold halogen beams cut the dust. The Gotthard Base Tunnel, the ultimate megaproject. $12 billion. 57 kilometers of impenetrable rock.
I stand at the rock face. The noise shatters the eardrums.
Look at this mechanical beast. The tunnel boring machine. TBM. It does not negotiate. It violently forces its way through the mountain. Flesh, steel, concrete, pitted against billions of tons of raw tectonic mass. A single miscalculation. The mountain wins. How do you pierce the solid heart of Europe without the rock grinding your bones into dust? Europe chokes. Total freight traffic gridlock. 28 million tons of cargo and blocked. The Alps stand in the way. A 200-kilometer wide wall of stone. Surface roads fail. Winter storms freeze international supply chains. The solution? Pierce the absolute base of the mountain, a flat line through the crust of the earth, a 57-kilometer zero-gradient tunnel. The engineering problem, the sheer weight of the world. You feel the terror the moment the elevator drops. Descend 2,000 meters into the abyss. The atmospheric pressure crushes your chest. Look straight up. 2 kilometers of solid granite hang directly overhead. Millions of metric tons pressing down on every square meter of the tunnel roof. The Gotthard Massif, a brutal geological formation. Gneiss, granite, sedimentary rock, layers of geological chaos. Every meter drilled presents a new terrifying variable. Tectonic stress zones, unpredictable fractured geology. Geothermal heat radiates from the raw stone. Rock temperatures spike to 50 degrees Celsius, scorching heat, boiling ambient air. Engineers pump 28 degrees Celsius chilled water into the shafts. It barely stops the sweat. Thick silica dust hangs in the confined space. It coats the throat. Megaprojects demand extreme foundation work. A straight path, no curves, no climbs. High-speed rail. 4 massive tunnel-boring machines, the heavy artillery. They launch from the north. They launch from the south. A blind race to the center of the darkness. The rock groans under the mechanical invasion. The geological pressure builds. The mountain does not yield willingly. It prepares its violent counterattack. The underground cavern. The launch chamber. Carved entirely by hand and explosives. 40 meters high, a subterranean cathedral. Here, the assembly begins, piece by piece. Lowered down vertical shafts, 400 meters of continuous machinery. The TBM, a crawling factory. 3,000 metric tons of steel. The cutter head dominates, 9.5 meters of raw diameter. 58 individual roller cones. Forged from tungsten carbide, the hardest industrial metal on Earth. Initiate the main drive. 10 massive electric motors spark to life. 3,500 kilowatts of electrical power. The grid strains, the head spins. 6 revolutions per minute. Slow, unstoppable. Hydraulic rams extend. 30,000 kilonewtons of forward thrust. The steel teeth meet the granite face.
I feel the violent vibration rip through the concrete floor.
A deafening mechanical scream. The teeth do not slice. They crush. High-pressure water jets bombard the rock face. 500 liters per minute. Quench the blistering heat. Drown the toxic silica dust. Micro splinters of rock detach. The debris. Muck. The extraction phase. The beast eats the mountain. Rotating buckets scoop the shattered stone. dump it onto the primary conveyor belt, the cardiovascular system of the Megaproject. 28 million metric tons of excavated material, a continuous gray river of debris, transported 20 kilometers back to the daylight. It never stops. Look at the macro logistics. Narrow-gauge locomotives feed the beast. Trains haul raw materials into the dark. Diesel fuel, water, steel. A functioning city operating in total isolation. Look at the micro-precision. Surveyors utilize advanced laser guidance systems, targeting prisms bolted to the tunnel walls. The margin of error, millimeters. From opposite ends of the Alps, 2 massive drills driving through the dark. They must meet dead center. The TBM pushes forward. It exposes a naked rock void. The void is highly unstable. The mountain seeks equilibrium. It wants to collapse. Instant reinforcement required. The trailing gear deploys. Robotic arms swing into position. Shotcrete, high-velocity liquid concrete, fired at 30 meters per second, sprayed directly onto the bleeding rock. Accelerant chemicals mix at the nozzle. The concrete hardens in exactly 120 seconds. It seals the microfractures. It halts the structural degradation. Heavy steel ribs lock into place. Steel wire mesh pinned to the walls. Pneumatic drills drive 4-meter expansion bolts into the roof. Lock the tunnel skin to the deep rock matrix, the secondary lining, the final shield. Custom-built steel formworks roll into place, 12 meters long. Hydraulic jacks expand the steel molds. Pumping stations inject specialized liquid concrete. 300 cubic meters per section. Cure for 12 hours. The formwork collapses, moves forward. A flawless, impermeable concrete tube remains. Waterproof membranes block the high-pressure subterranean water. 30 meters of progress every 24 hours. A brutal rhythm. Shift after shift. Drill. Crush. Spray. Move. The heat exchange systems fight the 50 degrees Celsius rock. They barely win. The extracted rock is crushed outside, mixed with cement, pumped back into the mountain as fresh concrete. A perfect closed-loop engineering cycle. The mountain builds the tunnel. The progress seems unstoppable. 30 meters. 30 meters. 30 meters. The false sense of security. The geology changes. The mountain prepares its trap. The Piora Mellera zone. The Geological Nightmare. Radar probes detect an anomaly. The rock matrix alters violently. Solid granite vanishes. Sugary, granular dolomite takes its place. Saturated with high-pressure subterranean water. 150 bars of hydrostatic pressure. Then, the crisis hits. The rock burst. Tectonic stress releases in a microsecond. The mountain executes its counterattack. The tunnel walls violently deform. The immense pressure forces the rock to catastrophically fail. An explosion of solid stone. Shrapnel. Razor-sharp granite fragments shoot across the tunnel like artillery fire. You drop to the floor, cover your head, pray to the steel above. The halogen lights shatter. Total darkness. Thick, suffocating dust blinds the crew. The deafening, terrifying crack of failing rock. The temporary steel arches groan. They twist. The metal warps under the impossible weight. The mountain is closing the hole. Emergency override. Kill the TBM drives. Total silence from the massive motors. Replaced by the terrifying sound of the crumbling ceiling. The void threatens to cave. A catastrophic collapse. A multi-billion-dollar tomb. The rock mechanics team scrambles. High alert protocol. Evacuate the non-essentials. Bring the heavy armor. Pneumatic drills pierce the failing rock face. 10-meter solid steel rock bolts driven straight into the unstable roof. Hydraulic grout pumps inject high-strength epoxy resin. Lock the bolts. Anchor the fragile skin of the tunnel to the deep, stable rock. Heavy steel I-beams rush to the front line, welded in place, a desperate, brutalist cage against the crushing tectonic force. Days turn into weeks, millimeter by millimeter. The engineering crews fight for every inch of ground. Subterranean water floods the invert. Industrial pumps scream. 5,000 liters per minute evacuated. While the structure holds, barely. The rock bursts subside. The engineering saves the tunnel. The steel holds the weight. The mountain retreats. The physical structure survives the assault. The human toll remains unpaid. You step off the man-rider train, 2,000 meters below the surface. Breathe in. The air is dense. Artificial oxygen pumped through massive high-pressure ducting. Taste the pulverized rock. Microscopic silica dust coats your teeth. Smell the ozone. The burnt hydraulic fluid. The raw diesel exhaust. The ambient temperature drops. Massive refrigeration units scream. They pump 28 degrees Celsius, chilled water through miles of steel piping. Without them, 50 degrees Celsius, radiant heat, 100% humidity. Human organs fail. The body cooks from the inside out. Look at the miners, the unsung mechanics of the deep, covered in gray abrasive mud. And sweat cuts sharp lines through the grime. Neon reflective vests flash under the cold halogen glare. 2,600 workers, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 3 shifts, no sunlight, no seasons. Only the deafening rhythm of the TBM, 120 decibels of continuous mechanical violence. Ear protection is mandatory. Communication happens through hand signals. The physical toll, brutal, unforgiving, heavy steel lifting, constant vibration. Backs break, joints shatter, lungs harden. The sheer scale of human effort defies logic. Generations of miners working the exact same face. Fathers pass the drill to their sons. The mountain becomes their entire universe. Sleep, eat, drill, repeat. A brutal cycle, unending, unforgiving. The psychological toll, extreme. The claustrophobia, the absolute physical isolation. Millions of tons of rock hang directly above your hard hat. Every single day. The mountain tests your focus. One slip of the 50-ton gantry crane, one snapped high-tension steel cable, one undetected pocket of explosive methane gas. Lethal consequences. Microseconds between life and death. The logistics of survival. Astounding. Fresh water lines run parallel to the tracks. Waste extraction systems pump toxic slurry to the surface. Look at the medical infrastructure. Subterranean trauma centers built directly into the rock. Heavy-duty emergency trains remain on standby, fitted with extreme life support systems. Extraction from the deep takes a minimum of 45 minutes. The golden hour bleeds away. Medics operate under the cold lights. They fight massive hemorrhages. They stabilize crushed limbs. Every injury is a critical emergency. The isolation multiplies the danger. The safety protocols, militaristic, rigid. Respirators, Kevlar helmets, heavy steel-toed boots. Digital tracking tags monitor every human position.
I watch a shift change. Exhausted eyes stare blankly.
The fresh crew steps into the void. Megaprojects demand sacrifice. The mountain extracts its payment. Blood, bone, life. 9 men. 9 lives violently extinguished in the dark, crushed by collapsing rock masses, struck by massive underground logistics trains, devoured by the relentless machinery. Their names permanently etched in bronze, memorialized at the northern portal. A brutal, permanent reminder. Engineering marvels carry a massive human price tag. The sacrifice secures the future. The grind continues. The final kilometers approach. The tension spikes. The ultimate test of precision. October 15th, 2010. The breakthrough point. The tension. Electric. Palpable. 14 years of relentless drilling. 57 kilometers of solid prehistoric stone eliminated. 2 massive tunneling machines, the North Drive, the South Drive, separated by exactly 1.5 meters of rock. The final rotation begins.
I feel the rock face tremble. The violent vibration of the approaching beast.
The tungsten teeth shatter the final wall. A massive physical hole opens. High-pressure dust billows into the chamber. The gigantic cutting head stops. Total mechanical silence. Then, massive cheers echo through the 2,000-meter-deep cavern. Miners crawl through the jagged opening. They embrace the ultimate feat of human engineering. Surveyor lasers verify the alignment. 57 kilometers of blind subterranean drilling. The deviation, exactly 80 millimeters horizontally, 8 millimeters vertically. Absolute mechanical perfection. The Gotthard Base Tunnel, structurally complete. The transformation phase begins. Fast forward 6 years. The raw bleeding rock is sealed. 4 million cubic meters of high-strength concrete poured. Look at the track installation. Custom-built rail-laying machines inch forward. They align 120-meter segments of raw steel. Thermite welding fuses the joints. 2,500 degrees Celsius. Molten iron permanently bonds the steel. A flawless, continuous ribbon of metal. Precision steel rails bolted directly to the concrete floor. No wooden ties. No gravel ballast. 228 kilometers of continuous track laid. Overhead, copper lines suspended. They carry 15,000 volts of alternating current. Massive ventilation shafts pull fresh air from the surface. And cross passages connect the 2 main tubes every 325 meters. Emergency escape routes, tactical survival infrastructure. Understand the extreme aerodynamic forces. 2 massive trains pass each other at a combined closing speed of 500 kilometers per hour. The displaced air creates a violent shockwave. The aerodynamic pressure threatens to blow out the train windows. Engineers install massive pressure relief valves inside the tunnels. Air vents redirect the kinetic energy. The engineering anticipates every physical variable. Safety doors weigh 10 tons each. Hydraulic mechanisms seal them shut in seconds. Fire suppression systems monitor the thermal footprint of every passing axle. The mountain is officially conquered. You stand on the subterranean platform. The ground violently shakes. A high-speed passenger train rips through the dark tube. 250 kilometers per hour. Massive aerodynamic drag violently displaced. A piston effect forces air through the concrete cylinder. Zurich to Milan. Travel time decimated. 260 heavy freight trains per day. 65 high-speed passenger trains. The sheer volume of material staggers the mind. Enough excavated rock to build 5 pyramids of Giza, dumped into Swiss lakes, creating entirely new islands. Nothing is wasted. Every gram of stone serves a purpose. The environmental impact meticulously calculated. The economic arteries of Europe permanently opened. The Alpine bottleneck destroyed. The massive wall breached. 1 million heavy diesel trucks removed from the surface roads every year. Massive reduction in atmospheric carbon emissions. $12 billion on 28 million tons of excavated rock. 9 human lives. The legacy echoes through the century, a massive testament to relentless human willpower. The impossible physically executed. The megaproject delivered.
What project should we bring to life next? Tell me below. Subscribe. Join the engineering revolution.